is okay not to be okay with what everybody else is doing. Hola, hola, hola a todos. Es tu prima favorita Bobby here. Welcome back to the Cousins Corner. If you are not new here, if you are new here, welcome to the Cousins Corner. I am tu prima favorita Bobby, and I just like to talk. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. So, as I said in the beginning of this video, it is okay for you to not be okay with what everybody else is doing. So in the world today, we notice that there are a lot of trends that are going on. Just whatever. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of crazy things going on, right? And there's a lot of people that are just jumping on trends, that are just jumping into things because it's what the rest of the world is doing. And sometimes we feel like, you know, why not? Everybody else is doing it. At some point in your life, you may have felt like, well, everybody else is drinking, so why not drink? Everybody else is partying, so why not party? And I'm not saying that these things are inherently bad things or negative things, because if done in moderation, they can be totally fine. And then just depending on where you are in your life and how responsible you are or irresponsible you are, they can have either good effects on you or bad effects on you. But I want to say this more in specific to just influence, whether it be your friends around you, the people that you hang out with, the people that you like, your crush, your school, your social circle, or whatever. It is okay to have a mind of your own. In this day and age, there are so many things that are just being normalized and being seen as cool to do, or why not do it. And sometimes we look at these things and we're like, whatever, let's do it for the plot. Like, let's do it for the plot. Let's do what everybody else is doing, and why not? Nothing else is going on right now. Let's just do this in the meantime. And if you know that you're not that kind of person, if you know that that is not something that really edifies you, whatever it may be, you don't have to be okay with doing it, regardless of what society tells you, regardless of what your friends or so-called friends are gonna say, regardless of what other people are going to think. Because at the end of the day, it is you who have to face yourself, who have to look in that mirror or look into your heart or deal with those feelings. And a couple of things that I'm just going to point out with in regards to this today is, I'm going to start with one of the biggest things that I'm seeing is just this pool of, or this normalization rather, of just casual situations with people, right? And not to say that this is something new. This is something that's been going on for a really long time. But it's just something that, you know, we're starting to see a lot. So a lot of people are talking about how the dating pool sucks and how it's hard to find people that are intentional or people that do want more or whatever the case may be. And as somebody who has been on the dating scene for some time and who is actively like dating and going on dates and all that, I can say that it can be a little hard, but it also can be really, really fun. So I will say that it just depends on how you look at it. But I will not ignore the fact that there are a lot of people out here who aren't really looking for anything in particular. Like, they're kind of just going willy-nilly into it, just thinking that, oh, well, I don't know, it'll be the one when they fall out the sky on a cotton candy cloud, and and for some people that might happen, and that's great. And then for other people, it's like, no, you actually might need to work on yourself and be more intentional with people, starting with yourself and your friends. And then, you know, you could open yourself up to meeting the right person. But that's neither here nor there, because this video is not about telling people how to work on themselves. We will do that in another video. But as far as they're just this pool of just like, just go with it. Just everybody else is doing it. It's fine. And I found myself there too. Believe it or not, Miss got her life together, everything calendared out, do everything with intention. Yes, I did find myself in that. And I found myself in that in the sense that I was like, well, no, you know, the fish aren't biting, right? Well, they're biting, but there's none that I want to take home and fry to have for my fish fry, right? So it's like, okay, well, I'm out here and I'm going on dates with people and I'm hanging out or getting to know people or whatever. I could be in this situation over here just until something becomes more exclusive or whatever the case may be. And for a while, I tried to make myself be okay with that, to be okay with surface level connections with people, or just not even if they were necessarily surface level, but they weren't going any deeper. They weren't going anywhere. It's like, okay, we're cool, we hang out, we chill, whatever. We might be a little bit more intimate than I would be with anybody else, but until something else, you know, comes along, like, this is cool for the side. And for some people that does work. For some people, like, they can do that. They can separate their energy, they can divide their energy, they can divide their times, they can separate their feelings, they can detach. But I am not built like that. I am una mujer es fuerza. I am really strong with a lot of other things. Matters of the heart is not one of them. Anxious attachment style over here that I am working through also. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. Me going into certain situations thinking that I can just detach myself or just disconnect from myself did not work for me. I'm not a person who necessarily catches feelings pretty fast or really easily. I really don't like people a lot. Well, I'm not saying people, but in regards to romance, people say that I'm picky, but it's that I'm just very particular about what it is that I set my sights on. But when I do, honey, when I do, I just want to sink my teeth all the time, 24/7, just bambita, like, just, you know, okay, let's pretend like I didn't just do that. But it's like, no, like, I want your time and I want your energy, and I don't want you in my face all the time. I don't want you texting me all the time. I don't want to be here all the time because I'm still a busy woman. Muy ocupada, estoy muy ocupada, pero I do want to know that I'm wanted and you know, consistency and all of that stuff. But I try to convince myself, you know, it's the way of the world right now. Everybody's just, you know, doing it. It's like, yeah, let's just have some fun over here until everything else falls into line. And it's just like, I'm not okay with that. And I haven't been okay with that in a long while. And I tried to convince myself that I could do it because maybe occasionally it did feel good. Occasionally it did feel fine. Occasionally it did feel freeing. And then other times it was just like, no, because there's this connection that I'm building with this person half-assedly, and there's these other connections that are either not going anywhere because I would rather be over there, or just I'm not interested in these people, so I'm just out here just lollygagging, right? But it just came to a point where I just had to really realize that it's like, I'm not okay with this. And there's nothing wrong with me for not being okay with that. And I have plenty of friends who are okay with it, and then I have plenty of friends who are not. They're like, well, when I'm talking to somebody, I want my focus to be set on that one person. Or when I'm talking to people or dating or whatever, like, nobody is getting super close to me. Everybody is staying at that line until I'm seeing the intention and I'm saying, okay, you can come closer, or you can come closer, or I can let you in. Or yeah, I got thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, and then 4 or 5 are really vying for my attention. And that right there is a different story. I don't know how. And then of course you have people who are just like, well, I don't really want anything, you know, serious right now, so I'm just entertaining the whole football team or the whole volleyball team or whatever the case may be. And I say none of that to judge people. I say none of that to say what is right or what's wrong. I say that if you are the person that works for, that's great. But if you are a person who is trying to convince yourself that those types of things work, that fickle connections until you find a real connection work, or that fickle connections because you don't have any real connections work, and you know that you're not truly okay with that, it's okay to not be okay with that, right? And I've never been one to be afraid of being alone or afraid of being by myself. I am not one to be like, I have to have somebody, or, you know, I have to have at least one close, even if, you know, the rest of them are way off in the distance or whatever. If I'm not really, you know, intimate or anything with them, we're just, you know, vibing, trying to see what sticks. And then over here, I gotta still have somebody like close to me. I'm not that type of person. But when I do catch the feelings, I don't know what I become. I don't like it. But again, I say that, like, that is something that I'm not okay with. I'm not okay with just casual connections that aren't really going anywhere. And I've done casual before in a sense that it's like, we're here where we are, and we are going to communicate at every step. If it becomes something more, if we need to pull away, if it's not going anywhere, like, but right now it's like there's not, I don't want to say necessarily not an intention behind it, but it's like we're not running to pursue anything further. But that for me is still an intentional connection, or it still has to be an intentional connection. At least where we are open to if it becomes something more, and we're willing to talk about if we need to, you know, pull the plug or whatever. Not necessarily that just because it's casual, we're not going to talk, or we're not going to go deep, or we're not going to explore each other more, or whatever. And for some people, you know, casual for them, it's like that's what they want. They're like, I don't want deep, I want surface level. I want intimacy, and I want surface level connection with you, and then that's it. And that's totally fine if that works for them. But if it doesn't work for you, that's totally fine to say no. The same thing goes along with friendships as well. Like, I know that there's been a lot of conversation about low maintenance friends versus high maintenance friends, and what people prefer and what people don't prefer. And I feel like some people are just feeling like, oh, well, maybe, you know, this is the way friendships are now. Like, we don't really communicate with each other outside of, you know, when we see each other, or outside of when we end up in the same places, or whatever the case may be. And for some people that just doesn't work. My light just kind of cut out. But I know for me, I'm a person who is pretty intentional about my friendships. So if someone's like claiming to be my friend, then I'm like, I'm expecting us to show up for each other. I show up for my friends, and my friends show up for me. Don't call yourself my friend or say that we're friends if we're not actually going to be friends, if we're not actually going to acclimate into each other's lives. And again, that doesn't mean that we have to be right here in each other's faces all the time, because ain't nobody got time for that. Oh, no. But at the same time, it's like, I don't like empty words. I don't like, oh, call me if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. But it's like, I don't feel that way. Our connection doesn't read that. It doesn't give that. It doesn't give that we are truly friends, that we are truly here for each other, that we are bringing each other into each other's lives so that we can support each other and show up for each other as friends. And that's also something that I had to realize that that's not okay with me. And if I do feel like a connection is like that, then I am going to space myself out. And it's nothing against the person. It's not that they're bad people or anything like that, but it's just like, I like to be more intentional with my friendships, and that's from my side and the other person's side. And if I don't feel like we're pouring into each other in that way, then we're not friends, and it's cool. We're just acquaintances, right? We're just people who know each other. We're homies. We're people who are cool with each other. But I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like, oh, we're just the best of buds, because we're not. Not if we're not showing up for each other in a way that I feel is intentional, and the way that I feel that friends do show up for each other. So that's just what I mean when I say, like, you don't have to make yourself comfortable with things that you are not comfortable with. And that goes even further into like your relationships and things that are asked of you, or that are put upon you, or that are forced upon you. I would hope that you're not sticking around in relationships where people are forcing you to do things that you don't feel comfortable doing. But I feel like a lot of times, especially women, and I'm speaking from a woman porque soy una mujer, so that's the place that I speak from, but a lot of women put things on themselves because, well, this is the way that I need to show up in this friendship, or this is the way that I need to show up in this relationship, or this is the way that I need to show up in the world. I need to dress like everybody else. I need to talk like everybody else. I need to look like everybody else. I need to have the body like everybody else. And that starts at a very young age, that we're being warped into wanting to be a certain way, to look a certain way, and then we feel bad when we want something different. And of course, there are some girls, there are some of us who are just like, I don't give a fuck, like, you know, I'm gonna do what I want to do. If I like this and I like being different, like genuinely how I am and how I show up, then I'm gonna do that. But there are so many people who skirt the line, or so many people who get sucked into, this is the way that the world is doing it, this is what's gonna bring me attention, this is what everybody else is doing, this is what I need to be okay with. And I'm here to tell you that it is okay to say no. It is okay to say that I don't like that for me. That's cool for you. I love that for you. I don't like that for me, and I'm not gonna do that. And it's also okay for you to be multifaceted, right? You as a person are not a monolith, and it's okay if sometimes you're like, I'm baddie sometimes, and other times I am baggy. Baggy pants, baggy shirt, baggy everything. Don't even look at me, or do look at me, but I'm gonna show up in different ways. Like, it's okay for you to skirt the lines if that's truly and genuinely who you are. No one is saying that, or no one should be telling you that you need to show up one way versus another way, or you have to show up one way versus another way. Like, I say that to say, be who you are. Like, I wish that we lived in a world that really honored people showing up as themselves, as much as we want to say that that's what the world's pushing to, as much as we want to say that that's what we want to see. A lot of times we penalize people for showing up as who they are. We beat people down, or we judge them, and sometimes I have to fight my own biases when I see certain people do certain things or show up as themselves. And I literally tell myself, I'm like, stop it. Like, why are you even having that thought? That don't have nothing to do with you. That is none of your business, and you don't want nobody judging you for what you got going on, or what it is that you want to do, or what it is that you like or don't like. So all of this, I just say, find it within you to be okay with showing up for yourself. Sometimes that's easier said than done, because you might be in an environment where everybody is in the same mindset, doing the same thing, and they are against anybody who's not doing that same thing. But if you have to separate yourself from that, if you have to remove yourself from that, if you gotta give distance with those people, that those friendships, those groups, those social circles, that partner, whoever, whatever it is, then you're gonna have to do that. Because if you don't figure out now who it is that you are, what it is that you want to be, how you want to be perceived, not even just that, how you want to show up in this world for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are the person that you have to answer to. You have to lay your head down every single night with yourself and wake up every single morning with yourself. So if you are not liking what that is, or who that is, or what that looks like, figure out why. Is it because you're too busy trying to be like everybody else? You're too busy trying to accept things that everybody else is accepting, or have told you that you need to accept? Is it because you need to build up your own self-esteem more, your own self-worth, your own self-value, so that you can show up authentically, however, whoever you are, however it is that you want to be, whether it's different from one day to the next, as long as it's genuinely and truly you, it should matter. I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but I say that to say that I hope that this video sits well with somebody, that it encourages you to really look inside yourself and to just really think, who am I and what do I like? Forget what the world is telling me I gotta be okay with. Forget what the world is telling me I need, or how I need to dress, how I need to be, how I need to show up. Now, granted, if it's self-work type stuff, because I'm all for that. I'm all for working on yourself, trabajando en tu misma. I'm all for that. Building your character, building your confidence, all for that. But if it's just this push and pull with, this is who they want me to be, this is who I want to be, this is who I don't want to be, this is what they're telling me I need to be okay with, or I need to do to get this or to get that, and I don't want to subscribe to it, hush the noise and listen to what's in here. And if in here or in here, if they're not collaborating in the way that you need them to be, then you need to do a little bit more soul searching to find that. But anyway, this is tu prima favorita, Bobby here. Thank you for joining me in the Cousins Corner. Please make sure that you like, comment, share, subscribe. Please share your thoughts. I love to hear them. If anything resonated with you, if anything that you want to add to the conversación, please drop your comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.